Thank you very much. And thank to the organizers for the invitation. And thank to all of you who were brave enough to stay until now, in spite of such a nice weather outside. It is a pleasure for me to be back in Budapest after so many events which took place in 2011 related to family under the Hungarian European Union presidency. Initiatives that are bearing fruit today. For example, we need to thank the Hungarian presidency for the opinion of the European Economic and Social Committee on the role of family policy in relation to demographic changes, with a view to sharing best practices among member states, of which one of my fellow French citizens, Stéphane Buffetot, was the rapporteur. As president of the French Catholic Family Associations, founded in 1905, more than 100 years ago, I will talk about the situation in France today. During the past year, French people have mobilized in a unique manner to speak up for marriage and family, while being not listened to by the government. You probably have all heard about and seen pictures from the demonstrations in Paris, millions of people in the streets, 3 times, with regard to the new law on same-sex marriage and adoption, organized by La Manif pour tous, of which I am one of the spokesmen. As a president of the European Federation of Catholic Family Associations, FAFSE, of which the Hungary Association MACAX is a member, I shall also speak from a European perspective. I would like first to insist that we are associations that are named Catholic Family Associations and not Catholic Families. That means that we do not intend to defend Catholic families, but we want to promote the family in the sense that is corresponding to the teaching of the Catholic family, of the Catholic Church. And therefore the associations are Catholic, but not necessarily the families. Of course, you can imagine that most of our members do apply for themselves what they think good for the others. How can we promote marriage and family in the public space? What is the case of France? Earlier this year, the French First Chamber, Assemblée Nationale, debated the bill presented by the French government for several weeks, day and night. The tenacity of the French debate proves how important this issue is to all, whether one is in favor of a marriage as the union between husband and wife or not. In any case, it's important. Indeed, marriage is the very foundation of society. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that the family is the natural and fundamental group unit of society and is entitled to protection by society and the state. The family has its starting point in the relation that unites the 2 spouses. It also states that man and woman have the right to marry. I wish to make this distinction, as the original text of the declaration was drafted in French, l'homme et la femme, man and woman. The declaration reflects a universal reality, but the English translation doesn't give a full account of this reality, nor does the French government seem to understand this reality. The debate in France shows that the reflection on marriage cannot be disconnected from a reflection on filiation. Filiation is at the heart of the debate, as the French government has not only proposed to open marriage of 2 people of the same sex, but also to give them the right to adopt, and then create what they call parentality instead of parenthood. The correlation between adoption and marriage is by no means indifferent. And this was clever when we created the civil marriage, because the idea was that a marriage is dedicated to protect the child, and because of that, it was necessary and clever at the time to think of those children who could be, for any reason, deprived from their parents. And that was the idea of the adoption linked to marriage. People, spouses who are married, are entitled to adopt because they can create the same conditions for the child who need it. Marriage is intended to protect the child and the spouses. It is a social institution, it is not a right. The protective character of the rights and duties instituted by marriage between a man and a woman in faithfulness constitutes a guarantee for the primary interest of the child, allowing the child to grow up with his or her father and mother, knowing that they love him or her. Not any child is coming from the back room. And nobody has asked a child whether he accepted to get born. However strong the desire to found a family, a desire that is a common inclination of any man and woman, the interest of the child must come first. That is a principle that is affirmed by Article 3 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. In all actions concerning children, the best interest of the child shall be a primary consideration. That is in our fundamental texts. Most of us know someone who has been adopted or grown up without knowing his or her parents. I believe no one would deny how deep the suffering of each one of these people is, as they are searching for their origin. Filiation is a part of the history of each one of us. It is an essential element in the identification for each individual on the biological as well as the social and legal levels. Not only biological, not only educational. This is why the Convention on the Rights of the Child states that the child shall have, as far as possible, the right to know and be cared for by his or her parents. Depriving a child of this right and the intrinsic bond on which is it founded severely puts the responsibility of the society at stake. Society must not abandon its duty to protect the most vulnerable of its members. That is why none of the levels of social life can be neglected when promoting and defending the dignity of each person. Number two, the dignity of each person has to be promoted at all levels, from the family up to the European political scene. The opinion of the European Economic and Social Committee, which I was referring before, underlines that irrespective of the individual future or history of a family, or the changes that have taken place in families in general over the past few decades, every person in Europe has belonged or belongs to a family. No one is born in a vacuum, and surveys of public opinion all show that family ties are still amongst those that rank highest on people's list of fundamental values. The family is anterior to the state. It is the basic unit of society. When families do well, the society as a whole does well. It is therefore in the interest of all, the family, society, and state, that families are supported and protected. The family, a subject of rights, was the title of a conference recently organized by FAFSE with the support of ECPF at the Council of Europe. The intention was to draw attention to the family as an active member of society and focus on the existing positive tools that promote the rights of the family in many areas, such as education, social policies, balance between family life and work, participation in political decision-making. Among these legal instruments, we can find the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 16, most important, the European Social Charter, Articles 8, 16, again very important, 19, 27, 31, all national constitutions and legislation, and of course, as the best example, the Hungarian Constitution, the Charter of the Rights of the Holy See, which was published in 1983, it can be downloaded on our website. It is still fresh and new. Nevertheless, there is no point in promoting and defending the family and marriage at the political level unless we pay attention to the everyday situation of families. We need to understand their needs, desires, and worries. As society evolves, that is true. New challenges appear, and we need to search for ways to find adequate solutions that truly meet the needs of the families today. Moreover, we need not only to react to what can be described as undermining political action that has a detrimental effect on families, such as measures leading to poverty, social exclusion, unemployment, which in turn have a huge impact on the stability of marriages and families. The rate of divorce and family breakdown is high across our continent, much too high. But we especially need to act proactively. We must make proposals that meet the desires of our fellow citizens. Youth today wants to have stable relationships and yearn for family life. A recent youth survey among 16-29 years old in 11 countries that was issued in May this year presents the following features. In order to have a future, we need a common goal. And today that goal is not to be seen anywhere. A majority of 62% states that society has become too individualistic, and that is politics that is to blame. Today's politics are seen as short-sighted, paying too little attention to critical long-term issues. The dreams and aspirations are focused on another arena, the personal one, the small, close collective, the family. When it comes to family, young people are anything but short-sighted. They want relations that are so strong they will hold a lifetime. According to them, the achievements that are most worthy of respect are not making lots of money or even saving the world, but being a good parent and keeping a family together for years. So now, how can we offer young Europeans today a way to achieve this desire? I would suggest 3 tools, 3 directions. Number 1, give testimony of the beauty of marriage and family, and the capacity to maintain lifelong relationships. The survey referred to earlier points out that building your own family that you can keep safe in a nice home may be a reaction to the postmodern values that the baby boomers born around the 50s and the subsequent generations have boosted in the West. Individualism, depending on yourself regardless of gender, no requirement to get married or adjust to convention. It has been a project with a goal to deconstruct old and traditional institutions. Since the 60s, people aged 20 to 25 have had the most extreme attitudes and values. But not so anymore, it seems. Instead of deconstructing the traditional values, young people today seem to long for the reconstruction of collective values. And they are starting with the small world, rebuilding the family. Their hopes for the big world are common goals and the end of short-sighted politics. After all, it is the youth that will benefit the most from long-term commitments and goals. Many of today's young experience divorces when they grow up, or at least had friends growing up in divided families. And perhaps, as a consequence, the ones who are most worthy of respect, according to the young, are those who have succeeded in family life. Respect. Being a good parent and keeping a family together for many years top the respect list. These are far more worthy than having a successful career in business or becoming a successful athlete or an artist. Families deserve respect from the young. So say the global youth. So let's offer the role models the youth searches for and also provide educational projects that strengthen the capacity to commit oneself to others and be faithful. Second direction, assist families in their everyday life. Ensure that families receive the support they need. We need policies that allow for a good balance between family life and work, and the implementation of such policies. It is essential to avoid a competition between family and work. Families need work, and employers need employees who have satisfying family lives. This is why FAFSA prefers to talk about balance instead of conciliation, and also puts the family before work in this expression, as the needs of the families should be the starting point when designing working conditions, or the balance cannot be reached. Support the parents in the education of their children, but only support. The parents are the first and primary educators. Primary doesn't mean in time. They must have the primacy the whole way long. They sometimes need support, but they don't need to be replaced by school or other educators. It has to be a cooperation in the names of the parents. We should provide adequate support for young families and give access to the labor market in conditions that respect family life and take into account the human capacities acquired and developed by both mothers and fathers. Third direction, provide tools to families to express themselves and influence the political decisions that have an impact on their lives. This is namely what family associations, such as the ones I represent, can offer. Not everyone is called to take concrete action at the political level, but by joining a family association, a family both gives a voice and provides support, whether financial, through a membership fee, or in other ways, to an association that can speak in the family's name. In France, this is developed since several decades, and we have a national union of family associations that is a sort of family parliament. And this national union is protected by law. That means that the government and the parliament have to get the opinion of this union before making any decision that concerns family lives. There is a big danger that those unions are ignored, which was the case by last year, but in France at least, they are protected by law. So by family mainstreaming in the political decisions process, the interest of the family can be promoted and defended. So we need to work for family mainstreaming at national and European level. I already referred to the Charter of the Rights of the Family from a Catholic point of view. It provides a tool that can inspire lawyers, politicians, civil society and other actors, all those who have an impact on the political decisions regarding the family. It is one of the sources of inspiration of the Catholic family associations, but could certainly be used by others because the reference to the Bible are not specifically shown. It is a text based on an anthropological ground that is in harmony with Christian values and therefore provides a good basis for our work. To conclude these short views, I wish to draw your attention to the upcoming European elections. They will provide an excellent occasion to put the family founded on the marriage between a man and a woman at the center of the political debate in Europe, making proposals on how to support the family through the European politics. Our European organization will launch a campaign at the beginning of 2014 to promote family-friendly candidates for the European Parliament. And therefore I would like to invite you all to sign up to our newsletter on our website to receive more information in due time about that campaign and also to join us in the effort of promoting the family as a subject, not an object, a subject of right in the European Union. Thank you very much.